Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our DCCU universe creation, I guess you could call it. Today, we're going to be talking about my plan for the Superman movie. So, for Superman, how I'm envisioning my Justice League to start, if you remember from the past video, there's going to be 7 different things that happen across the world, and these superheroes are going to realize, specifically Batman, they need to get together because world threats are going to come eventually. They're not going to be able to handle it all on their own. So without further ado, let's dive into my Superman idea. Superman will take place as the first movie chronologically, not counting Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's counted, but it takes place back in the days. So I'm thinking Superman's like my main focal point besides Batman and Wonder Woman. So the characters that will be a focal point in this movie are Superman, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and it will be the traditional Jimmy Olsen, Bizarro, and Lex Luthor. Now, my idea for this is Lex Luthor realizes Superman is a threat to his plan to eventually take over the world and create maybe Brainiac even. So he finds a way to the Bizarro world and pulls Bizarro out to fight Superman. My ideal for Bizarro isn't for him to look like Superman. My idea is for him to be a lot bigger and taller and more physically scary. So I think that would be pretty cool because I think Bizarro is a very unique character, I guess you could say, and I think it'd be really interesting to see him as a villain, but I don't think he can be the main villain. Lex Luthor is obviously the main villain because he's orchestrating everything. So without further ado, let's dive right in to my castings. So for Superman, I chose to continue with Henry Cavill. Now I know in real life Henry Cavill is no longer playing Superman. I think Henry Cavill is the right choice for Superman. He fits the build I'm looking for my future. He's more of a serious Superman. Though I will take off the fact that he does have a no kill policy, so I'm going to stick with that. And I think it'll make it more interesting that way. Henry Cavill, I think honestly is the perfect casting, so I think he'll lead my Superman. I'll convince him to come back. For Lois Lane, I have Holland Roden. Excuse me. So I don't know much about her as I probably should, but from a lot of I went to my cast. She's a lot of the top fan casted. I was reading some articles from Screen Rant, Cracked. She is she's one of the most highly touted for Lois Lane, and I think she'd be a perfect match. She's within the age of Henry Cavill, and I think she would match well with his personality. Now, for Jimmy Olsen, I went with someone who probably isn't more thought of, and that's Jace Norman. Jace Norman, if you've seen Henry Danger back when, at least when I was younger, I think he played the role of a superhero. I guess fine for a Nickelodeon show. I think he fits the mold of Jimmy Olsen though. Jimmy Olsen's more of the nerdy type who is younger. I would definitely say younger than Superman and Lois, and I think that Jason Norman will fit that mold because I think he could be a good comedic relief to a point, kind of similar. I think he could be similar to Peter Parker without powers, and that's exactly what I'm shooting for. So for Jimmy Olsen, I chose Jason Norman. Now for Bizarro, just gonna give you a spoiler, is someone no one probably will ever suggest, and I highly doubt it would happen, but in my perfect world, it would. And that's Nikola Jokic. Now, before you go and say athletes make terrible athletes, traditionally that's right. Bizarro isn't someone who will stay very long because most likely Bizarro will probably die in this movie, or at least go back to Bizarro World, and I don't have future plans for Bizarro as of now. But I think Nikola Jokic could because he's very popular. He's very big, very tall, very strong. I think he can rival Henry Cavill's Superman, and I think that he's such a big star that I think a lot of people will be interested to see how he does in a movie, and I think it could bring more people in. Even though Superman would already be a pretty big project as it is, especially with Henry Cavill returning, I think that this would be a really good move, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it. And I know there's a lot of other choices that you could definitely say are better for Bizarro, but for me, I think getting someone who is 7 foot, around 250, very big, very strong, and someone who doesn't have to be the strongest actor, just needs, I think, someone who can fit the role of someone very large without using too much CGI. I think that'd be ideal for me. That's why I chose Nicola, and I think he could do the role well. Now for Lex Luthor, it's another one that I wouldn't say is non-traditional, but definitely not number one candidate, and that's Chris Meloni. If you've seen SVU, Chris Meloni is a very, very good actor. Now, he doesn't serve the role of a villain too often, but I think he could be a great Lex Luthor. He has that bald look now, and I think having an older Lex Luthor is more ideal. They went with the younger Lex Luthor back in Superman versus Batman. It didn't go well. Lex Luthor is a very important villain who I have plans for throughout all four phases. And I think that with him being older, he's going to be a little more mature, a little more dark, a little more wiser. And I think he'll be able to see the threat that the Justice League is more than a younger guy would. And I think Christopher Meloni has that. If you watch SVU, he has like a villain. Almost feels like a villain, even though he's not. He could definitely serve the role as a villain. He's definitely intimidating. And I think he'd be perfect for Henry Cavill's Superman because I want the Superman to be a little serious. I don't want him to be completely serious, but Superman's definitely not going to be my comedic guy. I have other guys who can be more of a comedic, and it's definitely not Superman. So, with that being said, those would be my castings for a Superman movie. I definitely know Bizarro is going to bring up some controversy, and I'm sure Jimmy Olsen will too. But comment down below what you think. If you guys have other ideas, that'd be cool. I'm definitely not going to change my answers. I can tell you that right now. But I think this is a good future moving forward, and I think this is a good step to go along with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman and Shazam. But Shazam's going to take place after Justice League. Anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video in which we'll be talking about the Batman movie.